Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Unplugged Woodworking's podcast. So I hope everybody's well. I'd just like to say a big thank you to everyone, to all the new subscribers on YouTube, on my Instagram. I've had a couple of nice comments, a couple of nice messages. I really appreciate people taking the time to comment and watch me videos and look at me posts. Really appreciate it. So a very big thank you. So, also, I've just opened a TikTok account. I'm a little late to the party with the TikTok, but hey ho, I've eventually got around to it. When I do post on TikTok, I am kind of aiming for like 1 minute tips and tricks, if you like. That's what I'm aiming for. Whether it continues like that, I don't know. Also on YouTube, I am trying to be more active on YouTube. I always get a lot of messages, people asking, for us to do more content. So I have just got a new camera. Hopefully the content's going to be a little bit better. Hopefully the audio, I always get a lot of comments about my audio. I am trying to improve on things like this. So I have posted a couple of videos quite recently. I have done a couple of shorts, only like 60 seconds, and there was a couple of other videos about 10 minutes long. So if you want to check them out, there'll be a link in the description for all my social media, for my videos, etc. So today, the title of today's podcast is called "It's Not All Butterflies and Unicorns." So basically, is what I'm talking about. Going to be talking about today is what it sounds like. It's not all butterflies and unicorns. Basically, I'm going to talk about when things don't go right for us, or in this case, I'm going to talk about the dining table I've just recently completed. Like, it's just been very problematic from start to finish. There hasn't been a great deal that's went right for us for this build. It's been quite emotional, even to the point where I was nearly gonna I basically emailed the client and just told them I'm having I've had a lot of issues with it, and I was basically going to refund him. He actually talked us out of it. He says persevere on with it, but I kind of lost the will to live with this table. So as a case study, I just wanted to go through everything that went wrong, and some of the trials and tribulations. It's just to give people an idea that myself included, I don't often show mistakes, and I think this is all across YouTube, all across Instagram and Facebook. It's like you watch these guys, and they're making joints, and they're doing everything that's perfect, and then you come along and you do something, you think, well, how does he do that? And I keep on making mistakes, where in reality, people like myself and other people would make a lot of mistakes. We just don't tend to show it a lot. So today I just wanted to, clarify that I do make mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes, and today I'm going to talk about them. So, what's on my list first? Right, so when I first initially started making the table, the guy basically got in contact with us. We discussed a few things, and he basically just gives us deposits, and I started working. At the time, I did have some oak. I didn't have the tabletop, but I did have enough for the framework. So I said to myself, I'm going to make the framework. So I basically made the 4 legs, and I started making the frame. I pretty much had all the frame together, and this was kind of a new design, and this was a kind of a new way to put a table together, which I've never seen before. It was like my own thing. So when I done that, I wasn't happy with it. I just it just didn't feel sturdy enough for me. I mean, given a little bit more time and, a little bit more head scratching, I probably could have resolved a few of the issues, but I just wasn't happy with it so much so that I totally abandoned it. So, I kind of had the legs all done, and the legs were glued together. So, and the legs had a bridle joint in them, so I couldn't reuse the legs for the new design. Which, by the way, if anybody is interested, the new design was basically taken from the Anarchist's design book as a work table, but pretty much I've just turned it into a dining table, and I've altered the design a little bit to my own liking. Probably the most notable part is the stretchers. I've basically put a bevel on the end of the stretchers. I don't know why nobody's done this before me, or at least I haven't seen it done before me. But every time I look at this table, if I'm on Instagram and I see this table, it's a beautiful solid table. The dining table, it's absolutely solid. The design is a good design. But just some of the design features, like it's just a big clunky thing, and it just looks hideous. To me, it looks hideous. I'm just surprised nobody else has, basically changed it. I have had a couple of people say, good call on beveling the ends of the stretchers. Okay, so that was the first mishap, should we say. So the second one was I was actually having issues getting the tabletop. So the client was very specific that he wanted oak slabs, or to be honest, we went for oak slabs first, and then he was asking for beech. So I tried to get him beech. I couldn't get beech. I went to a couple of different wood yards. I couldn't get beech. Spalted beech he was after. So after that, I started ringing about for some oak, and basically I ended up with 2 oak slabs. I had to join them together, but even then I was struggling to get the width of the slabs to what I wanted. So basically he asked for like kind of a minimum of 900 millimeters for the width of the table. So obviously I had to have two slabs that had basically 450 each, plus a little bit extra for planing and jointing. So that was just at that time, it was just a bit of an issue. At any other time it probably wouldn't have been an issue, but I did have a little bit of issue with that. So when I got the slabs, now I always expect cutting in oak slabs. I always expect it, but this was a little bit more than usual, I will admit. So, it was a lot of work. Anybody that hasn't done it yet, or anybody who has done it, they'll kind of know exactly what I'm talking about. And for yous that haven't done it, wait till you do it and you'll discover how much hard work it is. So you've got like these 2 sections of oak slab to flatten with a hand plane. A number 5 jack plane is what I used. So the oak was really, really tough. Sometimes you'll just, me personally, in my experience, sometimes you'll just get oak and it's just super, super tough. It's really hard. And then other times you'll get oak and it's just a pleasure to play and it's a pleasure to work with. But this was really tough. And me playing iron, it was just, it was going blunt straight away. Bearing in mind that I'm also using I was using a Hawk blade. I was to hog quite a lot off. I was using my combat iron at first, and this was just the original blade that come with me record number 5. But even the Hawk blades, it was I had to, I think in one day, I think I sharpened like the plane iron about like 3 or 4 times. It was just really, really tough on the blades themselves. So what we've got next on the list, the weight of the slabs is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's like crazy. I think there is a video of me using my skateboard to wheel the slabs from my shed to my room and workbenches, like outside, so I've got a bit more room to walk around them and walk with them and stuff and whatever else. But they're absolutely crazy. Oak's heavy to start with, and when you start lifting like slabs of it, it's really hard on the back. I think, to be honest, if the guy had have asked for anything bigger, I probably would have had to turn him down on the grounds that I physically couldn't have managed with it. I mean, I consider myself quite a fit and strong guy to start with. I scaffolded for a lot of years, so I'm no stranger to hard manual labour. But these slabs were absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the table once it was flattened down, the tops were flattened and the legs were in. And I did mention this on a previous podcast. I actually got me bathroom scales down and put the table on, and it's the weight of it was like 8.5 stone. I think that's about 55 kilograms, something like that. So it's a lot of weight. It really is a lot of weight. It's just been a total nightmare, like the weight of it. I mean, because I've had a lot of bad weather lately, so I've had to use it in the shed. Like basically, I've had to do stuff in the shed with the tabletop. So with the weight of it, I've struggled moving it around in like a really like narrow space. And then when I have had good days, it's been more beneficial for me to actually take it outside. But at the same time, it's just been so it's so physically demanding to get it out. It's a really, really big struggle. Taking it inside of my house. I took it inside of my house. I've had it in and outside. I'm working from home, so I've had it in and out of my house. And this is basically, I've had it in a couple of times to level it, to level the legs, sorry. And just get a feel for it and a few other things, and obviously you're moving it. So when I'm bringing it in the house, I've got to get it through 2 door frames, and the length of the table is 1.7 meters, so it is actually tight getting them through there, getting myself through there at the same time. Also keeping this big tabletop, this, whatever it weighs. I'm not too sure what the tabletop itself weighs, but obviously the whole table weighs 8.5 stone. I'm not sure what the tabletop is, but it's still heavy. It's still a struggle to get it through two doorways. So that's just that was probably one of the biggest issues for me. And as I said, if you had asked for anything bigger, I would have really had to have turned them down, which isn't something I like to do. So the sliding dovetails, they were a lot of hard work as well. The amount of material that I had to remove. I didn't want the sliding dovetail to be narrow. I wanted it to sit in a decent amount. So I had to take like quite a lot of material out there using like my chisels, and then moved on to my router plane. And when I was sawing the curves for the sliding dovetail, I actually went over me depth mark, which you can actually see on the thumbnail of the podcast. So you'll actually see I went down quite a lot. I have actually managed to fix that. I had to resaw like a really thin piece, like 1.7 meters long, and it's basically just, I've resewn like a really thin piece of veneer, to basically cover up that. I did actually try to stick a little bit of veneer in and seeing how it looked, and it just didn't look that, it didn't look good, so I've basically, had to stick a new piece of veneer on, basically, so, but yeah, that's like, how can we say it, me being careless, basically, it shouldn't have happened. I should have been taking my time a bit more with it. And when I did start cutting for the sliding dovetails, I was a little bit worried about the expansion. Yeah, I've mentioned this in previous podcasts. In my experience in England with kiln dried oak, it always expands. But as soon as you bring it in the house, it always expands. Every piece of furniture I've made for myself, it's expanded, and it doesn't tend to like, shrink too much. That's my experience. Obviously I cannot comment on this in different parts of the world, but for me, that's what kind of happens. So by doing this, when I look at the ends, you can see it. It's, you can see the gaps. It's not a tight fitting joint. Don't get us wrong. It has still got some structural strength in it, even without the screws underneath. But I did have to do it slack on that basis. In hindsight, like looking back at it now, is what I should have done. This didn't occur to us till after I'd built it. I probably should have used a tapered sliding dovetail, which would have totally fixed all this. But hey ho, you live and you learn, don't you? But as I said, it just makes my brain itch to see those gaps. I mean, they're not massively, but still, I just don't like seeing like gappy stuff like that. But it's in this particular instance, it was necessary. Like I said, in hindsight, I know what I should have done, but it is what it is now. So, I don't suppose that's a mistake per se, but it still makes me brain itch a little bit. So we're going to go on to the legs next. I mean, I got the legs, and the legs, they were basically sold as leg blanks. These were quarter sewn legs. It's in all fairness, when I got them off the guy says, "Oh, you'll not have any issues. These are all quarter sewn. The bang on." And true to his word, they were really good pieces. Nice straight grain in them, very strong. There's going to be no danger of them snapping or anything like that. However, there was a lot of material to be removed. And this was quite time consuming. Again, this isn't really a mistake, but it's it just kind of added to the stress of it, to the time of it. So I wasn't really fond of that. And again, the oak was really tough with these, but it is what it is. So another thing what I done when I actually had everything in place, I brought the table inside, I put it together, and I started leveling the legs. So, basically I got the height I wanted, marked it, and I just used, a block of wood, sellotaped the pencil to it, and went round in them on my lines to cut. What I failed to do was to check me kitchen floor for level, which is quite ironic, because I'm normally a stickler for things like this. It's normally the first thing that pops into my head, like kind of check the floor, see if it's level, because if the floor is not level, you're not going to get a perfect like a reading sort of thing. When you're using a unlevel floor to level a table. So yeah, I used my kitchen floor, and my kitchen floor was out by quite a lot, which obviously now I know, I didn't know at the time. So I done that. I brought it outside. I'm doing a few finishing touches to the table, and I'm looking and I'm thinking something doesn't look right, yeah. So I actually had it on me decking, and I'm squatting down and I'm looking at the table and I'm thinking what's wrong, and I could see the line, the cement line of the brickwork in my house, and then I could see the table was actually running down, and straight away I knew that the table's not level. So I got my spirit level out, stuck it on it, and yeah, the table was running down. Obviously, I've got my decking out there, but my decking's quite reasonable, to be honest with you. But yeah, so I basically had to re-level the legs again. So yeah, that wasn't great. And I had quite a lot of issues with some tannin stains. I did touch on these in the last podcast, I think, or one of the last podcasts, whatever. So, as I explained in the last podcast, I had these tannin stains. So basically, when you have oak slabs, you'll stack the oak slabs, and they should be stacked with not oak, basically, but these have been stacked with oak stickers, and the stickers are just to let the air flow through underneath, and on top, obviously, if you're stacking them. And this is the tannins had a reaction with each other. The acid has reacted with each other, and it's left like a stain going across the grain. So I had 3 of these in, so I could have used the underside of the table, but the underside of the table, it wasn't good. It seemed to be more, what's the word I'm looking for here? It was more knotty. The grain wasn't pretty. The grain was a bit bland and boring. So I says I'll use that side, and by the time I've planed it down, because I started planing them and I did see them, before I even jointed these, because it was what I did do. I flattened them down half reasonably, and then I jointed them together. And then obviously I flattened them again, when it was one. So I did kind of see these, and I thought, it'll be okay. The time I'll plane it down, and it'll disperse by itself, because I know tannin does kind of disperse by itself over time. When it's just revealed to the air and stuff and whatever else. But yeah, this was a total pain. So I was playing, and they were still very present. So and I'd already taken off quite a lot. So I went out. I bought some vinegar, because there's acid in my mind. In my mind, there's acid in vinegar. Just hire it on, see what happens. I used apple cider vinegar on one of them, and surprisingly, it did actually disperse some of the tannin. But it only done it so much, and then when I reapplied it, it just stopped working. It was just that one time. It kind of it created blotches in it. So you had blotches of the true colour, and then the rest of the stain was the tannin. So apple cider vinegar did kind of work a little bit. So after that, I went out and I bought some sugar soap, and I scrubbed the living hell out of these stains with this sugar soap. Now, one of the stains, honestly, the amount of tannin that come out of this, out of this one stain was crazy. But it was all over the table as well, I was like, oh my God, and the table was starting to turn black and everything. I was like, oh God, this is not happening. When you're just having one of those stressful days, and it was like just going all over the table. And I was like, oh, so I'm running around like an idiot trying to, get all the excess water off it, as I'm scrubbing. I'd done that to the rest of them, and I did actually cause some black tannin stains through doing that. And after all that, the stains were still there. So after that, I got some Tannin Remover. Now this was actually sold as Tannin Remover. I don't know how many applications I tried of this. I tried quite a few applications, and I think to a degree it did bring out, it didn't, what's the word I'm looking for here? It did minimise the I kind of think my words here. Basically I couldn't see it as well, but it was still there, pretty much. What it did do, when I was using the sugar soap and the water, obviously I created the black tannin markings. It did actually get rid of them quite well. So if you've ever got any black tannin stains on the oak, it will get rid of them 100%. And it did. It took them out in like minutes. So, like I said, it minimised the original tannin stains, but not to a point where you couldn't see them. So it was at this point I actually emailed the client. I said, listen, I'm having a lot of issues here. I cannot get rid of the tannin stains. I'm going to give you your money back, basically, your deposit. And he kind of says, he talked us out of it a little bit, like it seems a shame to give up and whatever else. So he basically says, can you not play it down a little bit more? Now, this did get suggested. It was on social media. There was quite a lot of people that replied to me post on social media. So thank you very much for everybody that took the time to reply. Was very appreciated, and it did actually confirm of what I thought it was, the cause of it, which was the stickers. Someone said, yeah, 100% definitely the stickers. So I started playing in it, pretty much, and I took a hell of a lot off. I don't know how much I took off, but it was a lot, So much so it was noticeable when I was actually picking the tabletop up. I could feel it was getting lighter. That's how much I've taken off it. So the issue I had with this was it was very time consuming, very hard work. Obviously, you're having to stop and sharpen your planes again and again. And I took it down so much I didn't take into consideration there's obviously screws underneath, and I did actually reveal two of the screw holes. Now these two screw holes were actually pretty much where I've screwed them in, and the head hasn't stopped in the countersink, and it's went past the countersink level. So that's why they've revealed, but obviously I've managed to fix them. That wasn't a big fix. So that wasn't too bad, but it's just the whole thing has just been, should we say, an experience. And I think sometimes, it's just you're going to get pieces of furniture that are like this. So the thing you can take away from this is that there is always solutions to mistakes you make. But like again, a lot of them can be avoided if you prepare things a little bit better. you do a little bit more planning, like ahead of planning, where I could have, I could have been ringing around a bit more. And to be honest, I did have a bit more time to get the oak top, and I should have been ringing around a bit more, and asking to keep, for the wood yard to keep me some aside if if they've got any in, because I do believe they get quite busy. So another thing would probably be that, sometimes you have just got to persevere through things, even when your spirits are a little bit down, because I'll be honest, like, my spirit has been a little bit down when I was doing that table. It's just so problematic. It's been quite a while since I've had something like that, where it's got us down a little bit, shall we say, because it got to the point where I wasn't enjoying what I was doing. So that's quite a big thing for me, considering I'm very passionate about woodwork, and like, I woodwork every single day, and I enjoy what I do. So to get to the point where I'm like not enjoying it, it's a bit of and I did actually have to take a step back a couple of times. I've just had to like basically leave the table alone, and just come away for a day or two, just to basically refresh me batteries basically. But yeah, I mean, as I said at the start of this podcast, with the title, it's not all butterflies and unicorns, so, if you're doing something and it's just not going right for you, just remember that, the rest of it kind of have been or will be going through the same sort of thing, and just persevere through. Worst case scenario, if you do persevere through and it doesn't come out quite how you want it, you are going to learn a lot from it, and hopefully you can, use that in the future. So I just thought I would share that with you today, because I just don't think a lot of people talk about things like mistakes and, things, how they've messed up and stuff. So I just thought it would be good to talk about it. So I think that's pretty much it for today, guys. So thank you very much. All the links will be in the description. If you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, there will be a link in the description as well. And I will catch you guys later.